Okay, it says we're live, so welcome to the GM's Dice. Tonight we got another one-shot going. It's the Imperial Commando's Zeta squad, and I've got 3 great players with me, 2 I have played with, and 1, just from talking with them, I think is going to be a blast to play with. I'm going to let them introduce themselves and their characters, starting left to right, as I see it on my screen, will be Alan, Chris, and then James. And go for it, sirs.
Hi guys, my name's Alan. I'm going to be playing a guy called Vash Prower. He's a heavy artillery kind of guy, big muscles, not very smart, and likes killing rebels for fun. That's me.
Chris?
Alright, I'm Chris. I have the channel Slacker Z. I'm also part of the Titans of Change Facebook group, and I will be playing TK771, otherwise goes by Lucky One. He is a recon commando.
And James.
All right, my name's James. I'm going to be playing TK617 Zeke. He's actually a trained breaching specialist, so he's trained in explosives to get through doorways and also hack into computers to get through security systems.
Okay, and with that, we start our scene with a IR-3F class light freighter. It kind of looks like the Corellian cruiser that you see in the very first scene of A New Hope, that's running from the Imperial not Death Star, but Star Destroyer, but a little smaller. It's still got the big 4-pack engine on it, but the main ship's a bit smaller. But this light freighter flies low over the surface of the second moon of Ryloth. The moon is not like many others in the system. There's no forests, no wide open plains, no rivers. It's just a barren wasteland, much like our moon. As the freighter zips along just 100 feet or so off the ground, its rear landing ramp lowers. And it's zipping along, and there's this big mountain of crater edge coming up. And just as the ship banks and turns to the right to continue to skim along the ground, 3 speeder bikes with commandos in white armor come dropping out of the back end. They're half falling, half actually riding, and as they hit the ground with sort of a fishtail move, they zip off in the opposite direction of the freighter, and they do this with expertise. There's no flaw in their piloting skills at the moment. And as they zip off, they hear over the internal helmet comms, "The rebel installation you are to infiltrate and destroy is 5 clicks southwest from your drop point. This installation is a listening post that also happens to house a facility that is making an orbital weapons platform. You are to recover any information they have on Imperial activities and destroy the manufacturing facility." The comm then goes dead. And I'll leave it up to you guys to make your plan for how to get where you're going. So there's a mountainous sort of region to your south, to your right, as you guys come zipping out of the back of this freighter. You've got to get around or over to get to the base. How do you want to proceed.
How about we skirt the mountains, guys? Assume as much cover as we can.
Zeke kind of cocks his head over his shoulder and looks at the other two, then over at the mountains, trying to think of how long it would take to get around, and then just kind of nods in agreement. And he's like, agreed. I think the element of surprise is with us if we go over the mountains. If we take the easy route, we are going to run into some trouble.
Okay, so...
Copy that.
Alright, so you guys continue to zip on along the ground, skirting around the mountain, and zipping and zagging between boulders that are laying at the foot of this thing. And as you come around about maybe 20 to 30 minutes later, you come around and seeing how it seems that the 5 clicks you were told must have been a straight line over the mountains, because it's taken a lot longer than that to get to where you're going. But you come around a set of boulders, and in the distance you can see ahead of you a pretty large facility. It's got a large satellite array on the top of it. Out front on a landing pad you can see 2 Delta 6 defense starfighters. You can see off to the left, not far from the main facility, a set of large, what look like they roll back type of doors that are set into the ground. And if anybody wants to make a check, to an average education check, to find out if you know exactly what a defense starfighter is, you may.
Hey, Sean, you want to share that dice roller again? It bumped off mine real quick. I'll make the roll.
One thing. Oh, back up there.
Sorry.
There you go. Did it share it?
Hold on. No, it didn't. Let's see if I can get it back.
Oh, yes. Roll force dice, if you would, please.
That is one thing I always forget in my campaigns.
Myself as well.
Oh,
For us so far.
yeah. We got a pool of 4.
Jeez, you guys, that's not fair. Come on now.
Well, I think Zeke would actually have a good understanding of ships, given his sabotaging days. So he could actually make the roll for recon if you want.
Okay.
That was average, right?
Yes. All right. You would know from your training that this is a atypical Republic-era Jedi starfighter, and there's 2 of them at this facility. Now, you know that these have since then made their rounds throughout. God, guys, all light sides. Thanks, Chris. You couldn't give me a dark. But
I say we hoard them, guys. We don't use them. I don't care if I die. Just don't use them.
But no, you would all know that even though these are from the Republic-era Jedi starfighters, that they have made their rounds into the general populace. There are a few people that have them, but they're very rare to actually see this older model.
I think now that I'm looking at him closer, we're still on our speeder bikes, right?
Yeah, you're still on your speeder bikes, and you're still a good distance away. I mean, you're close enough that you can see these things with like the rangefinder in your helmet.
So I'm sitting there bracing, kind of looking over the handlebar, examining. I see the vehicles, and I start to ponder. First, I'd like to see if there's any way I could tell what condition they're in, because these are fairly rare, and if they're in really good condition, it's gonna be interesting.
Okay.
Oh, I'm just gonna remove some micro binoculars I've got and just like pass them to Zeke, so you can get a better look.
I
Okay.
pull back a little bit, grab it from his hand, and then hold the set up with my left hand while my dominant hand's hanging onto the handles.
Okay. An average mechanics, and give yourself a boost for also having the binoculars.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, you can see that these things are in not quite immaculate condition, but I mean they're in really good condition, at least visual-wise.
All right, so
They look like they've had some fly and some wear, but they look in pretty good condition.
I toss the binoculars kind of just a little bit as I get close to his hand, just toss it into his, and tilt my head up. I'm like, all right, boys, up ahead, those two Starship. Those aren't too common, you see. You could turn them for a pretty penny. They're from the Republic. Honestly, there's still some merchants that have them, and these are in pretty good condition. So whoever we're dealing with, they know what they're doing. I think at this point, knowing
pilots
that,
these things.
Anyone
kind of pilot.
Anyone can fly them. It's not so much that as much as it's to have an antique like this that's fully functional in this condition takes money or training.
Okay, so we might run into some heavy resistance here then.
I think at this point, to make their approach a little bit quieter, he kind of throttles back on the handle a little bit. You see the fins at the tip of the speeder bike flex like flaps to slow him down, and you hear that weird downshift that the bikes make when they're like, "Barf!" And then he just slows so that his speed isn't, the sound from his vehicle isn't such a shrill through the mountainside.
Okay. So you guys slow down a bit, and the sound does deaden a little, but not probably as much as you would actually like. I mean, you've got a mountain behind you and just wide open, nothing to break the sound up or anything. So, but with, as luck would have it, there's not anybody outside. You see behind the ships, as you approach further, you see that there's a set of double doors on the building that lead in, but those are aside from a few windows that look to be up toward the ceiling, look to be about the only way in other than the big, large, rolling garage-style door that's set into the ground that's off to the left of the facility a little bit, about 100 feet, 100 yards, not 100 feet.
Okay. I want to use my binoculars to kind of just like see if there's any security cameras or, you know, if there's any people in the window, any sign of life or sensors to detect our presence.
Okay, well the windows, you can see that they're heavily tinted, so they're like blacked out. You can't see inside of them, but you can see that by the doors and at each corner of the building there are cameras, and there's looks to what to be probably motion lights along with them.
I think at this point Zeke is going to elbow the recon and kind of tilt his head in as if whispering's going to help when you have these helmets on. And he's like, hey, look, listen up. I have a theory. There's no one outside, right? I wonder if they saw our dropship.
Lucky One will think for a minute, and he'll say, "Well, possibly."
I mean, usually military protocol during a bombing raid is to get into cover, right?
Correct.
So if our ship dropped out of the atmosphere too fast, we probably showed up on their sensors like a red flare.
Ambush.
Either that or they're just waiting for the bombs to fall. So,
Think they'll be watching those cameras?
it's possible. But I'm almost wondering if they didn't even expect to be found here. Almost like it never really dawned on them that we could locate this place.
And Lucky One will
Is there any
think
way
for
we
me.
can hack the system? Sorry.
Nope, go ahead.
Is there any way we can hack the systems, the security cameras?
Oh yes, most definitely. If I can get up to one of the panels underneath, if we can sneak without being seen, I could plug my data pad into the feed, track down the computer systems, and see if I could tap my way into the system. Now, depending on how sensitive the electronic security is in the area, of course, I could probably trigger a silent digital alarm, which then and then he kind of realizes that he's prattling on, and he just kind of remembers this military rhetoric, stands straight, and he's like, "Yes, sir, I can get it done. I just need to get under a camera."
Okay. Lucky One will see if he can find a path to lead to the thing without getting past the camera and kind of guide.
Okay, make an average skullduggery check.
Interesting. That is a good use of that skill.
Oh, well, we'll just ignore the force die.
Yeah.
So much light side. It's just coming out of our faces at this point.
That's not fair. But yeah, you easily notice, and what would almost seem to be either an obvious, like intentionally left sort of blind spot, or possibly whoever set this up is just that dumb that they've left a blind spot in their cameras that would actually get you pretty close to the doorway.
And Lucky One will kind of tell Zeke, "You see that path? Either they're expecting us or they're dumb. Because that's way too obvious."
He kind of
So-
squats down. He kind of squats down and goes, "Huh. Well, if they're dumb because they set up this trap, they must think we're dumb that we're going to fall for it, correct?"
Correct.
So all we have to do is out-dumb them. I'll go up to the camera, but you guys could set up an ambush point for the ambush. It'll be one of those, ha-ha, and then, ha-ha. Look, I'm not good with this
double
military
bluff.
mumbo jumbo, but a double bluff, exactly. I didn't know you played Spock.
That sounds like a good plan. Let's do this.
All right. You know what?
So Zeke is going to kind of start to set up for a counter ambush.
Yeah. Zeke kind of pauses, and he's like, "Do you guys have grenades?"
Vash takes off his grenade launcher from his back. This might do the trick.
Fair enough for you. How about you, Lucky?
Nope. They weigh me down too much.
All right. Well, if you want them, I can give you some. I've got several, so let me know.
Just give me one. I'll just need one.
I pull out a frag grenade and I hand it over.
And Lucky One takes it and straps it onto his belt, having it for the ready.
I now have 7. All right, so clearly it's going to be a matter of stealth. So I'm definitely going to. Okay, what's the ground here? What does it look like?
It's sort of like a powdery rock sort of surface. I mean, it's much like Earth's moon, only with atmosphere.
So like a sand?
Yeah,
All right. Do we have canteens?
I would assume so. I mean, I'm assuming you guys have got the average or standard
Yeah,
soldiers.
I didn't know if maybe it was the water source was built in like a camel pack or if it's a canteen. But I pull out my canteen and uncap it, and then I motion over to the guys. I'm like, "Can I have some of your canteen water? Only about a third of it. If we dump it all over me and I roll in this sand, I won't be a giant white target sneaking down to a camera. I'll at least have some sort of camouflage, and sand sticks to wet stuff, so I uncap it. I dump about a third of mine, and if anybody else hands me theirs, I dump a third of theirs.
Lucky will hand over his canteen.
And then I roll in the sand, and I just start covering my helmet with it and cleaning off the lenses, and then just making sure that I have a nice powdery, sandy surface. And I'm seeing if that will give me a blue boost die if I sneak over there.
Yeah, well, it takes your armor suit from being bright white to being sort of a dingy gray, because it's sort of a almost white, real light gray sort of sand.
Kind of like ash colored?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. So he's looking at this ashy substance, and he's just like wiping it off and looking at the dust and realizing that this kind of sand might make demo traps really fun. So he's thinking of all the grenade traps that he can make with a simple tripwire and sand. And he kind of tells himself, get your head in the game, get your head in the game, and focus. Looks at the camera again and looks back at the others, and he's like, all right, here we go. He's going to roll stealth. What would his difficulty be?
Average.
Average, okay.
I mean, they've left, you easily. You cautiously walk through, even though it's an obvious blind spot in the cameras, you cautiously walk through it. You get up to the edge of that and kind of doing the whole waiting bit when just kind of like a half step, stand there for a second, half step, stand there for a second. And you make it all the way up to the doors without any alarms or anything going off, no spotlights coming on. And what do you do from there?
As far as sound goes, as I'm approaching the facility, I know that metal flooring is a very, very noisy thing to walk on. So I start taking this light step kind of bounce as I go, just trying to lighten my step. Instead of being as fast, I just slow down a little bit. And I'm going to go right below the camera and then check my 9, my 12, my 3 with my 6 against the back of the wall. And I'm going to do it once over and twice over.
Yeah, the only thing you see at the moment is your partners.
All right. Do we have that Stormtrooper flashlight on our helmet that sometimes you see him mounted with, or do we have any kind of night vision built into the laminate, or is it just whatever we buy?
You've got night vision in it.
Okay, so with the night vision on, I know that they can see me. So as soon as I get to the spot and I feel like I'm not in any kind of danger, I am going to signal them. Did you want me to make a perception check?
No, there is nobody outside. I mean, it's eerily calm.
Okay, then I think I'm going to take out my data pad and just remove one of the input cords from the back of it and take out the camera's extender, pop that in, and hope that I can get access to the video before I'm caught. Maybe I could look for some security firewalls.
All right, that's going to be a hard computers check.
Oh my. All right, guys, it's up to you. Should I use a destiny point for this one, or are the cameras not that important?
I think that stealth is the way to go, so flip a point, make sure we get this.
Mhm.
All right. And that upgrades it to 3 yellow. Oh, okay, I'm glad.
All right, so yeah, you flip the cameras off, or you flip them into sort of a repeating of a picture or whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna have it be a very simple, short, or a very simple span of time where I'm just kind of keeping pictures of motions, and then maybe once the wind starts picking up a lot or whatever natural disturbance, that's when I stop, because I want it to be a little long but also have just a calming movement to it, nothing too crazy or erratic that they might re-notice. Once I get that piece, I'll install it back. But so do I take that threat as a strain?
No, it's
Okay.
there's something that's going to happen for it. I just
I was
don't
just
want to
making
quite
sure
say
so I
what
don't
it is.
That's cool. I just want to make sure so I wasn't marking stuff down on my sheet wrong.
Nah, no problem.
All right, so at that point, I think Zeke's gonna unplug the wire once he's got access to the feed and see if it works wirelessly.
Yeah, you can see whatever it is. I mean, just blank ground out there.
Excellent. I'm going to motion to the guys, give them a military signal for the two of them to converge down the hill, come over to me on the double. Make sure that they know they got to move fast.
And Lucky One will make his move.
All right. So you guys make it up to the side of the building. You're all three standing underneath the camera's view, up against the doors, or up against the wall next to the doors, stacked up.
I kind of look at them. I'm like, okay, I think what we should do is get inside, and then I'll plug the camera back in as I go. Maybe we won't trip security that way.
Okay, so you reach out to the door handle, and the doors are locked.
Doors are locked. We need to get these doors unlocked.
All right. Is it
Has
a...
anyone got a more subtle way of opening them than this grenade launcher?
I'm going to see the terminal and see if it's just one of those things where it's a lock on the inside where somebody has to let you in, or if it's a bilateral lock where I can open the door with a nice hack into the system.
You can see that it's a key card lock.
That's what I thought.
So
All right,
it's something that's bilateral. It goes both ways.
Yeah. So I turn to them and I say, look, I don't have a slicer kit. This one might not be so easy.
Lucky One will kind of look over to Vash and goes, and Zeke and kind of goes, well, they may be expecting a bombing run, so they may just think this was a bomb that went off. So he kind of looks at Vash and goes, let's blow this door.
In parallel with that idea, the camera's still off. I could actually trace around in front of the camera and plant other grenades so that it sounds like the entire area has been hit. Not just one explosion.
Okay, but the minute there's an explosion, they're going to be alerted to our presence. So
Oh,
we're
most
going to
definitely.
have a lot of heat.
Are you scared? Zeke kind of looks at him.
Hell no.
I thought you wanted to use, and he kind of like reaches his hand out, this new rifle that the war bonds have bought for you. I mean, this is your service dollars put in action here, and, well, Bessie's hungry, isn't she?
Okay, well, let's get these doors open, and we'll line them up like a turkey shoot.
Zeke kind of turns to the recon and goes, maybe stealth isn't going to matter anymore after this, so let's conserve the grenades and just use the one. I could build a blast charge on the door.
Okay.
So I'm actually going to... let's see. If I were studying the structure of the building, what would you have me roll?
Let's see here.
Probably education, just because it's maybe physics.
Yeah, I was thinking that, or the mechanics, understanding how something's built.
Oh, I'll go with mechanics. Gladly, sir. All right, now is this a blast door, or is this just a standard steel manufactured hydraulic door?
It's just a standard hydraulic style door. I mean, it looks to be a little bit heavier than average, but it doesn't look to be as heavy as a blast door.
So the trick would be to separate the rods from the door. That would be where I'd place the explosives, just so that we could force it to the side, even if the hydraulics don't move. What's the difficulty you want me to roll on something like that? I'm looking at that dark side like...
You know, actually, with your training and all that, I'd say it's probably going to be an easy one to figure out where and how to place that.
Perfect.
So,
and I think the main reason why I'm so focused on making this roll is because I also have to know where we have to stand. You know, if I put too much explosive and I'm like, yeah, let's just curl around the other side of the door, and then we lose our arms. So I'm going to go ahead and roll it. I'm going to say that the advantage is that I found out that I won't need as much. I could actually dismantle the grenade and use explosive in a line with my kit that I have, and just kind of like put it in a line around the bars and blow it, so I might be able to use less explosive and make less noise. The grenade itself is useless after this, but...
Okay, yeah. With your mechanical expertise in building and explosives, yeah, you're able to get that apart easily and get it placed up on the door where you need it, and you guys stack up where you're told to by.
And before the explosion goes off, Lucky One will get on the comms and go, all right, once the door's blasted open, do not make a move. Wait to see if anybody starts shooting first, and then we'll make our move.
Affirmative.
Fash will swap over his grenade launcher through his heavy blaster rifle, and just like, so when the doors open, he's kind of stood back from the explosion, but when they open, he'll be able to have a clear sight down the corridor with his gun trained, just in case.
And Lucky One will have his weapon kind of down at the ready, off to the side, so he can swing around and shoot once the door, if anything goes on.
And what my character's he's actually got a tragic flaw that he had a hard time coming to terms with, and he doesn't talk about it much. He was a computer scientist for the Imperials, but has had a fascination for explosions. So for him, this is a little more than just an operational piece to get through a door. So he stands close enough to where he could feel the blast as much as possible without being in danger. So he's just kind of that thrill seeker where he like leans into it.
Okay, so yeah, the blast goes off, the doors are ripped apart, and it seems that Zeke has placed the explosives in the perfect spots. I mean, the doors go from being sealed and closed to being blown, puckered open, and angled inward. And as the dust and smoke clears, you can see into the building, and you see into a hallway that continues straight ahead for probably about 15 feet, and after about 5 feet, branches off to the left and right.
Okay, Lucky One's going to look to see if he sees any movement or anybody moving. He'll kind of peek around the pucker to see if he can see that.
Okay. Average perception with one setback due to the smoke and sand and debris.
Okay.
Because the hallway, I mean, outside is cleared because of the winds and whatnot, but the inside hallway there, I mean, you can barely see through it to see the
Kind of
hallway.
like when somebody smokes in their house and that smoke just sits there for like 20 minutes.
Yep. So you take 1 point of strain for trying to strain to see through this.
Okay.
But you can see that off to the right and left that there is movement, but it's sort of like you just see the bare edge of somebody peeking around a corner.
And Lucky One will bounce, kind of set scoot back, so hopefully nobody sees him, and he'll kind of signal to the two. He'll go, which means that there's some movement right around right near the corner. So be wary.
Okay, so Vash was stood back from the door, but kind of he was in a straight line with it. He wasn't hiding around the sides. So as the dust and stuff settles, would I be able to see somebody's head like poking around the corner, especially because of Lucky's kind of signal that there is someone there? So I'm thinking if I can see a head, I want to take a shot.
You can see maybe like just like the quarter of a person's like arm, and maybe possibly a portion of like their forehead as they're kind of stacked up against the wall, kind of doing one of these things.
Okay.
So like you can see like right in here on them, but that's about it.
What kind of range is there to the end? At 15 feet, would that be long or medium?
Well, they're only about 5 feet inside the door, so it's going to be short range.
Short range. Okay, I'm going to motion to Lucky and Zeke, like just an explosion as I kind of reach from a grenade launcher again.
Zeke kind of flags you down a little bit and goes, and holds up the empty husk of a grenade that he has, and then screws it back together. Then he points to it and throws it. So he takes this empty husk of a grenade and he's like, "Frag out!" And he throws it right at the cluster of cover.
Okay, so you do that, and like the figures that you saw on the left side, because there was like the same sort of head popping out on the left and right side. And the ones on the left disappear, and you can hear boots slapping. The ones on the right, like one of them dives out into the hallway right in front of you, and two more go running past.
I look at Okay, so I look over at Vash, and I look down at his gun, and I just motion with my hand right in front of me.
Okay, well, bear in mind I'm stood back away from the door. Am I still in short range?
How far away from the
I
door?
wasn't next to. Well, I would have been maybe 10 feet, enough so the explosion wouldn't have kind of hit me. But I wanted to be just basically having the perfect line straight through the doors.
Yeah, you'd still be within short range, but like at the very edge of short range. So it'd be one purple and one black due to shooting through the puckered doorway and all.
Okay, in that case, I would like to, just launch a grenade as they kind of like one came into the corridors, a couple of people running. That's when I want to pop a grenade in there and see what happens.
Okay, so yeah, just as the one guy dives out there and the other two go running past, you pull your trigger.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, tell me what kind of advantage you bring out of blowing up. What kind of damage does the grenade do?
It's 8 damage, blast 6. Well, I'm not quite sure what blast 6 does, but damage is 8 from the weapon itself.
All right. Well, yeah, you annihilate the three guys that are in this hallway. The one guy, I mean, like he dives out, he's prone. The grenade lands like right square in front of him, like it bounces along and it just slides right in front of his face. And just as it gets maybe 6 inches or so past him, as the other two guys are just starting to run, just starting to get past him, it explodes, just turns him into a red mist that sprays out the doorway and launches the two other guys down the left hallway and leaves this black scorch mark in the center of the floor.
Alright. After the explosion, Lucky One's going to try to make his move inside to cover the other two that come in.
I think at this point, our heavy should be the last one in, since he's the one that they're hiding from. And since they're hiding, I'm going to use this advantage to kind of crisscross from the way that Lucky went. And he's going to take left side. And he's like, he kind of radios over on the comms. He's like, well, looks like Vash is at 1. You and I are at zip, Lucky. Remember, winner gets all. Alright? None of this double or nothing bullshit, you hear?
And
Just to
Lucky One,
confirm, I think I'm on 3, not 1.
Those are not confirmed deaths. They just fell. They could be very clumsy. Unless we see dismemberment, they are still going to need investigated. So you are currently standing at 1, good sir.
and Lucky will chuckle as he's making his move. Lucky will kind of chuckle as he's making his move and listening to this conversation go on between Vash and Zeke.
Alright, so Lucky and Zeke head through the door. Lucky is heading to the right hallway and Zeke to the left?
No, we're crisscrossing. We're giving each other cover.
Okay. So, as Lucky's heading through first, he'd get to his hallway just a moment before Zeke. And about 10 to 15 feet down the hallway, you see what was it?
He's like, a droidica.
No, you see a heavy repeater emplacement set in the hallway.
Okay.
But the advantage is from Alan, seeing if he doesn't mind, is the fact that the guy who was manning this gun has got like this thin piece of what looks to be like grenade casing right in an eye, and he's laying on the ground just writhing in pain.
Little do we know, that's actually the empty grenade husk coming back again, being blown up by the grenade launcher.
And Zeke, as he makes it to his hallway, he sees two rebel soldiers laying face down on the ground with shrapnel in their backs. One of them seems to still be sort of moving a bit, but not attempting to get up.
Does the other one look dead?
The other one looks to be dead, yes.
I pull the rifle out and I look behind my shoulder and I place it against each one of their heads and just blast them. And then I go over the radio and I'm like, see? Not dead. Now they're dead. I'm at 2. You're at 1. Lucky's at 0. Thank you very much.
Zeke, you are not taking credit for those guys. They were mine.
You paralyzed them, but you can still live a quality life with a good wheelchair and a good nursing assistant. Trust me, Vash, in 2 years when you retire, you'll be fine and you'll enjoy that life.
Whatever.
Oh, sorry for coughing on
Actually,
you.
correction. Apparently, you have 2 and I have 2. I would imagine that I would glance back down the other hall to see how lucky he was. See the guy writing.
Yeah. At the moment, you're both standing there in the intersection. Vash is, I'm assuming, standing in the doorway, looking and keeping an eye on what's further down the hallway straight ahead as you guys are each checking out your respective corner.
And Lucky will kind of motion for Vash to come in.
Okay, at this point I will put away my grenade launcher and just bring out my DHX heavy blaster rifle and just advance to my two comrades who were on the corners.
He holds. Zeke looks down at his gun, which is the same model, and kind of looks over, and he's like, "You know, you don't gotta copy me to compete with me."
Save it for the bar. We've got a job to do.
I kind of look to our recon guy. I'm like, "Well, Lucky, we got an abandoned turret up there. I bet you they were defending something."
And Lucky will nod and start to make a move up the hallway and see what's up ahead.
All right. So you head up the hallway there, and about another 10 feet after where the turret was placed, the hallway still continues straight forward to almost like a hatch type doorway. But about 10 feet past the turret, the hallway also breaks off and turns to the left.
Okay. And Lucky will kind of get to the corner and kind of hide, but to prepare to look around the corner.
Okay. So I'm not gonna make a check or anything for doing that one, but you look around the corner and you can see that maybe 10 feet the hallway turns to the left again. Plus, it continues on straight down for probably 30 or 40 feet with, let's see, another hallway about 20 feet down that goes to the left, and a series of doors on the left, and another hallway on the right, about 15 feet after the first left.
Okay. And I don't see anybody in the movement.
No, but you can see that there's like an emergency lights flashing in this hallway. Like there's no alarm actually going off the sound-wise, but you can see at each corner in this hallway there is a red light flashing.
Okay. I will get on my comms and go, okay, it appears that the alarm's silent, so they must have known we were coming.
Zeke shakes his head and goes, No. If it's silent, I can still shut it off and write it off as a malfunction. And goes to one of the nearest security terminals and just pulls his data pad out and hooks it up to it. What he's going to do is he's going to try to...
Well, right here in the hallway where you're at, there are no terminals.
Oh. Okay, so no terminals by the alarms. The alarms are just faceted to the walls, right?
Yeah, think of like fire alarms when you were in school. There'd be the little flashing light that was up along the ceiling.
Yeah.
Just no speaker along with it. It's just a flashing light.
Okay. Zeke is at a loss. He's like, yeah.
You're standing in what is basically a four-way intersection of a hallway. One has the doorway that leads back outside, and three hallways that lead deeper into the facility.
Motion to the doors. Rooms are always good.
Well, I'll cover our rear. So whatever direction we go in, I'll be like facing behind us with my gun, just in case anyone tries to sneak up.
I'll take Midgard, then I'll kind of watch both sides. My gun's more like up in the air as I'm sliding down the wall, but I am keeping more focused towards our recon. I know he's one hell of a shooter, but I don't want him getting jumped. I'd rather him do his job unmolested.
Okay, so you all head to catch up with Lucky?
Yeah, I slide down the wall to follow up with him, just to still keep my distance so that he can do his thing, but make sure he's within sight at all times.
All right, Lucky, do you turn the left and go down the hallway that you were looking down that's probably 40 or so feet long to the dead end at the other end of it? Or do you continue another 10 or 12 feet down the hallway that you're in to the hatch-like door?
Let's check the hatch-like door first.
Okay.
So
you
Lucky will
guys,
make his way.
all right, you guys slide down the hallway all stealthy-like, and
Before we have we already passed the repeating blaster?
yes.
Okay, how far back was that?
From where you're at, maybe 20 feet.
I'm going to go, hang on a sec. So I kind of jog the 20 feet back and squat down, and I start searching his pockets for a security card or some sort of ID.
Okay. And you do find an ID badge type deal that's clipped to his vest and whatnot. He's obviously a soldier, but he looks like you caught him out of his uniform type of deal.
Oh, so he doesn't have like the helmet or anything on?
No, he's got like a flak vest that he's throwing on over like casual clothing.
Does he have any sort of comms?
Yes.
I take his comms and look at it, twist the capsule to pull the chip out, and then see if I can insert it into my helmet. See if I can eavesdrop.
Make an average mechanics check. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and flip that dark side, and we're going to say that's one purple and one red.
Oh, you ass. All right. Oh, so lucky.
You get lucky, you pull that out, and it just happens to be the same style chip that your Imperial headset uses.
That would have been really embarrassing to admit to the guys, like, So I'm just kind of listening into the chatter and see if there's anything. I won't broadcast. I'm not surfing for deeper encrypted channels. I want to hit the surface chatter, because the surface chatter represents what they're not hiding from everybody on the base, and we want to know what the entire base is thinking. Or if there's like an evacuation, please fall back to this hallway. And then I kind of walk up to the recon, and I'm like, hey, let me see your helmet. And I kind of back and forth to lean forward.
Okay, well, while you're putting this onto his helmet or asking him for his helmet, you can hear over the open comms that you can hear, main door breached, all personnel, main door breached, and it just keeps repeating.
I kind of take the chip out and I like pull his head closer, and I'm like, listen, this is a communications device. If you want to listen into their radio in case, since you're the one doing recon, this might be helpful for you.
Okay. And at that, he'll take off his helmet and hand it to Zeke.
No, I don't think you'll need to. They slide in from the side.
Oh, okay.
So I was just going to discreetly like jack you up with it. And...
Okay. And Lucky One will just let him do it.
Yeah, so he kind of like a dog. He just grabs your head, tilts it, puts it in, and then like, let's go.
All right. So yeah, you hear the same thing. Main door breached. Main door breached. All personnel. Main door breached. And Vash, I would like for you to make a perceptions check, average, please.
Roger that. Perception. Oh dear. I'm not the sharpest tool. Oh.
Okay. So, I don't know what kind of a boost you can pull from not hearing what I was thinking of, or what kind of advantage, so I'd say you could probably add a boost to your next roll.
Okay, well, how about whatever happens, I'm not aware of it, but I'm not entirely caught with my pants down because I'm kind of on the watch.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you're not going to get caught with your pants down, definitely, because, I mean, you're taking up the rear, and your training is to be watching the rear, so, yeah.
Is this distracting him, would you say? Like, is he super focused on this?
Super focused on...
Yeah, you know how, like, sometimes when people are looking out for something and they think they hear something and they just kind of, like, perk up, and all of a sudden that's all they're... Did we notice that movement in you, Vash? Like, maybe you saw something?
No, I didn't see a thing. Basically, I'm looking behind me with my gun trained down the corridor, so although I didn't notice anything, I am still at a state of readiness. So, yeah, there wouldn't have been no discernible change in my demeanor.
Okay.
Lucky will get on comm and say, okay, ready to proceed to this first hatch?
I just tap them kind of like the parachuters in World War II, how they do the two haps on the back of the helmet. Just like tap, tap.
Okay. And Lucky will proceed to the hatch.
All right, you proceed up to the hatch, and it's got a key card slot, or sort of like it you see at hospitals, where you just got to kind of wave the badge in front of it on one side of the door.
Okay. And he will signal to Zeke. He will kind of say, look at me, key slide, point at the key slider.
Right, so I take the ID out, and I walk up. Actually, I'm going to send you a quick message. So I think what I'll do is I'll just try to swipe the card and see if the card will access the door, but I don't want to do it too many times so that it looks like somebody's trying to break in.
Where did you... There it is, never mind. All right. So you slide the card in front of the door, and it slides open, and inside you see, like directly in front of you, you see a blank Duracrete wall with a long bench running along it, and a set of double doors, like push open, sort of both two-way, like revolver doors or bar doors on the right, and you can see that the room continues on to the left.
Okay. Lucky will kind of peek around to look towards the left and see what he sees.
As military training would dictate, as he's peeking around, I move into the room. So he kind of like peeks around the room and goes slow, and I move in for the nearest piece of cover.
Okay, well, as you move into the room and as he peeks into the room, you can see a set of tables, a set of 3 tables that are at the left side of the room. So they'd be the nearest bit of cover unless you were to step through the doorway on the right.
Okay. I think I wait, just give him a few seconds to eyeball the area and see if anything's around, and then I kind of run up, tap him on the shoulder, and run forward towards the tables. But I guess I'm not worried about making too much noise. I'm not trying to be that stealthy. I'm trying to get there quick. But at the same time, my main focus is on the floor and making sure I'm not going to trip on anything.
Okay. As you come around and up to the first set of tables, you can see there's the room's kind of an L shape. Like you come in the door, goes both this way, and then as you come around to the left, the whole room turns to the right, sort of an L shape, and there seem to be like wrestling mats, like training mats, around the corner that are down on the floor. And this really large guy comes walking around the corner, and he's wearing like the military style, like sort of camouflage, or not camouflage, but like olive drab sort of beater.
Yeah.
And the like olive drab pants and all this, big cargo pants, military boots, as he comes walking around the corner, and he's got this massive rifle in his hands. And he just comes nonchalantly walking around the corner.
All right. Go ahead, James.
And he was walking towards where I was running for cover.
Yeah, he just
Right.
yeah he just walks around the corner towards the doorway towards the 2 of you guys. And at the same time that happens, from down the hallway where you guys entered the building from the 4-way, instead of going straight, you guys turned right. Well, coming from the straight direction, down at the end of the hallway, 2 more guys come running around the corner there, wearing full combat riot gear, both of them carrying assault rifles. Or, not assault rifles, wrong game. Blaster carbines.
Okay, would we notice those guys coming from the rear? Me and Zeke?
I don't think I would. I think I would have seen
Zeke
the guy
would-
right in front of me.
Zeke wouldn't. He's in the room. He'd notice the guy that's come around the corner in front of him. But Alan, or not Alan, but well, yeah, Alan, but Vash, he would. Sorry about that. He would see the 2 guys coming up the hallway from the direction you guys came. And I'm not sure if Lucky would see the guys coming up from behind, or if he would be paying attention to the big guy in the room.
I'd probably be seeing the big guy in the room because that's where my attention's focused. I was just wondering if he'd hear him or who would see him coming from the rear. Lucky would go to shoot the guy that's coming right at him.
Okay. Roll cool there, gentlemen.
Oh, this is never the skill that I invest in. 2 advantage, so when...
Two successes and advantage.
Alan's like, I told you I was ready for this.
I've just had my gun up the entire time. Like, as you guys were walking forward, I was just walking backwards, covering where we've been. So as you have gone into this room, I'm still kind of like in the corridor because I haven't followed you in yet. But I'm gonna call out on comms. Contact rear.
Alright, so let's see. We've got one PC. We've got two NPCs. Then we got two PCs and an NPC. Alright, so, yep, you got the one PC, two NPCs, two PCs, and then the third NPC.
I think we should let Vash go first, because if he's using his heavy weapons, he could potentially take more than one of them out before they get a chance to go.
Okay.
Okay, but I do have my blaster rifle out, so it.
Yeah, but that'll still punch a hole in them as they're running up.
True. Okay.
There's two of us versus this guy. I'm less worried about. I'm just looking at the odds.
Okay, so Vash will call out as you guys have got into the room. I'm unaware of what you can see, but I'm kind of stood in the corridor, and from behind us where we came, two guys are coming. I'll call out contact rear, and then just like try and plug one.
Alright, they're going to be at medium range.
Okay. Now my weapon is long, so do I get some sort of setback for that?
No, you don't. Not where you're at. I mean, you're not trying to do any tight turning or anything. You're just aiming straight down the hallway.
Perfect. Against average standard difficulty?
Average difficulty.
Roger.
Yeah. All right. So,
Oh.
what kind of damage do you?
I do 10 damage.
Yep.
But
Plus-
that's another +4.
Well, +3 because one is taken up for the success, and then the other 3 are added on to the damage.
Okay. Do I get my barrage of +3 damage as well? I've got a passive skill.
Yeah, if you what you've done there is let's see, the original is 13, and then you add another +3, so that's 16. So tell me how you take out both these guys.
Oh, nice. Okay, so I'll see. Do they have sort of like military discipline in the fact that the bats stood one in front of each other? That would be. Or are they side by side?
They're one in front of each other, but they're not like in a straight line. They're kind of stacked.
Okay. So what I would like to do again, contact rear, and I'll shoot the first guy, and it kind of takes him like just above the heart, and as he kind of gets blown back, his gun swings round, and just as it was underneath his friend's kind of neck, he shoots by accident. So basically, his friend inadvertently blows his friend's head clean off. So as he gets shot, he's like, oh! And just shoots his friend. That's how I take out the pair of them.
All right, sweet. So the one guy falls dead with a massive hole in his shoulder, taking out probably a top chunk of his heart been burnt away, and the other one has had his face completely burnt off from his partner shooting him as he's fallen dead. So that takes care of those two. Next PC.
4-2.
Okay, since I was going after the guy in the room, I will take my first shot at him.
Okay. So you are going to be within short range, but from the angle that you're at and from where the chairs are placed in the room, you're going to get a setback because you're having to shoot past or around Zeke.
Okay. So that's one setback and difficulty of
One purple.
two. Oh, one purple and one setback.
All right.
So that would be, let's see, 9, 10, 11, 12 damage on that.
12 damage. All right. Okay, yeah. Tell me how you kill him too.
Lucky just comes around, aims right for his chest, pulls the trigger, and a nice blaster-sized hole, probably about the size of a dollar, goes right through him, clean through him. You can see all the way through to the back of him, and as he falls down. And as he falls down, Lucky will go, "That's one for me."
Yeah, so just as this big old behemoth of a guy comes walking around the corner carrying this massive cannon, and he just starts to level it at Zeke, and Lucky leans out around the corner, fires, and yeah, there's a nice like $half sized hole left just dead center, and the guy just like drops to his knees and then falls over backwards to where his feet are kind of like his legs are twisted to where his feet are up by his hips.
Zeke kind of like stops because he's getting to a halt when that guy came around the corner, and after hearing Lucky say there's one for me, I kind of look over at my shoulder and I'm like, save your bonus on that as well. But I'm still beating you by 1 point if my odds are correct.
I count 4 for the big man.
All of a sudden, Zeke, like if the helmet was off, Zeke's expression would change from shit-eating grin to like really annoyed. And he kind of raises back. He's like, fucking cheaters. And then just kind of goes back to moving toward the cover because the room has not completely been deemed safe yet.
Well, but for the moment, you do have a moment of quiet after sort of a calm after the fire, so to speak. You don't hear any boot prints coming up after you at the moment, and there doesn't seem to be anybody else coming around the corner from where you were.
Okay,
From where you are.
Is there only a one-way in and out of that room? Or is there another doorway?
That anybody can see from where you're at, yes.
There's one.
Well, there is like a set of double-hinged double doors that would be behind the two of you because it's on the right as you would come in the room.
Lucky One will move to those doors to look to see if there's anybody coming from that direction.
Okay, and in these doors there's like the center little window that's got like the wire mesh sort of glass, the safety glass in it. And through these double doors you can see a weight room.
Okay. Is this the...
That is empty.
Okay.
It's maybe 12 foot by 12 foot weight room. It's got a couple of benches in it, and some other seats for like doing curls and stuff like that, free weights.
Is this facility and its involvement in physical care? This seems a little aggressive for a simple barracks, doesn't it? Or is this pretty typical?
You seem to have walked into some sort of like a fitness room or a training room.
Yeah, and is it typical for most bases to have something this nice, or is this just a little overly large?
It's probably a little nicer than you would expect for just your atypical rebellion facility.
I kind of look over at Lucky. I'm like, that guy seemed a little bigger than he should have, huh? I mean, he wasn't even wearing any armor. If they knew we were coming, then that was intentional. And now we've got, all the wrestling mats in that one room, and then here we've got this really nice... This doesn't seem right. This seems like we may have found out what our facility is used for, boys.
Lucky would kind of nod as he's listening to this and respond, okay, it appears this room is clear. Let's move. We should move on with our mission.
I nod.
Sorry, Vash would like to just have a quick look at the huge cannon the big guy was holding. Can I recognize what kind of weapon it is?
Let's see.
I'm a connoisseur of big weapons.
It is... Damn it, I had it just sitting here a second ago. Damn it. It is a XK-40 heavy blaster rifle. You would recognize it as being one of those high-end sort of recreational type of rifles, something that the rich would buy to add to their collection to just be able to brag to say, yeah, I've got this. But it's a massive weapon that deals comparable damage to what you've got already. Because you said yours dealt 10 damage base, right?
Yeah, they do 10 damage base.
Yeah. This one, it deals 12 damage base.
I might switch it out then.
It is a... Let's see...
Does it have auto fire?
It does not, but it requires a brawn of 3. It's cumbersome 3.
Yeah, so is ours.
Okay. So yeah, you could easily swap it out then.
Okay, let me see. Lucky, do you want to use this? And I'll kind of proffer my DHX heavy blaster rifle at him.
Okay. He'll go, yeah, I'll take it, and he will just to kind of take his blaster carbine, standard stormtrooper issue, and kind of just set off to his side.
How buff is Lucky?
He's 2 for brawn.
Okay.
I don't think the DHX has a brawn requirement. It just says
no, it
doesn't.
doesn't. I was just curious.
Okay.
I was trying to see where we all placed because I had an idea, and I'm immediately saying no to that.
No, he's not very big. He's more built for kind of speed and agility, being recon.
Okay.
So I kind of nod to the double doors. I'm like, if you ladies are done searching.
And recon will still kind of guarded, but making his way out.
Okay, so do you guys go back out the way you came, or do you go up toward the mats?
I think we should go up towards the mats. There's probably another room back there.
Okay. So, yeah, he'll go out towards the mats.
Alright, so you go out up toward the mats, and you can see an open hatchway that leads out into another hallway at the far end of the room. And you can see also a set of doors that is left open just to your right that leads into what looks to be a firing range.
Does Lucky see anybody in the room?
No, the lights are on, but there's nobody in the firing range at the moment.
Okay. And there's only one way in and out?
No, there's well, yeah, the firing range. Yes, there's just the one way that you can see.
Okay. And
I'm on the other side of the door that he's at, peeking into the firing range, just getting ready to be back up.
Lucky will get on the comms and say, room clear. And is there any other rooms in this area?
No, there's the doorway that leads out into the other hallway.
Not the hallway we came in. Okay, not to the.
Yeah, there's the doorway that leads back the way you came.
Okay.
Plus, just up ahead a little further, there is another open hatchway that leads out into a hallway.
Okay. Lucky will make his way up to that hatchway to look to see if there's anybody coming.
At this point, the only communication that Zeke's really doing is through the headset as quietly as possible. And he just kind of goes over the comms and he's like, so we have a collector's weapon, nodding to the gun that Fash picked up. We saw those really expensive antique speeders outside, and we're in a place that has really nice everything. What do you guys make of it?
Yeah. This seems to be an affluent base, and we just need to blow this place as quickly as possible. Get out of here.
Do you think we may have found a VIP's location?
It's quite possible. Looking around.
Maybe it'd be worth taking a look around. Finding us a prisoner of war. That could bring us some good intel.
Yeah, I think that should be a secondary objective. I think we should try and find the power generator that powers this place, set some charges to blow. If we can take a prisoner, that's just a bonus.
Well, going to the power generator is a good idea, except that we have not run into anybody there or where we're here, and they're just sitting and wait. And chances are, if you were to defend this facility, wouldn't defending the power core be the #1 place to defend?
Well, that's why we have you guys who are good at hacking into the security systems, find out where they're lying in wait and access the cameras.
I'm wondering if we could almost just go to a control center, such as a bridge or a command station, and enter a self-destruct sequence, or intentionally overload the power generator so that we don't even have to go down there.
That'll work too. We just need to blow this place sky high.
We'll cook those rebel scum. Get me to an interface.
Okay.
There is a computer terminal here in the room.
Does it look like, I mean, this is basically a gym. I mean, I know that there's probably, like, got to be some sort of security access because the firing range is right here, but what kind of security access are we talking?
Well, the doors, they look like blast doors, the hatches, but they've been left open. But there is a computer terminal next to the doorless doorway into the firing range.
All right. Do I have access to basic communications? Like, could I send a text-based message through the security of the system of the ship?
Yeah, you can get onto the terminal and send a text-based message out.
So I'm not sending it to comms where anybody will hear it, but I'm just sending it through the security system so that anybody using a computer will kind of see it like an instant message.
Yeah, you can do that.
All right, I'm sending the message throughout the security system. I'm saying 3 infiltrators going for the power core, gonna blow it. And then that's it.
Okay. It takes you a few minutes to kind of figure out exactly what kind of systems they're running on in order to be able to do this. but you do eventually figure it out and get the message sent. While you're trying to figure this out, though, I would like for the other two to make perceptions checks with a average difficulty.
Okay.
Now, if they do see me doing this, is there any way I could probably roll a skullduggery to make it look like I'm just struggling with the computer?
Yeah, you can.
Kind of like subterfuge. It's like,
Yeah, you could roll a skullduggery.
I'll wait till I see if they...
Are you
Did
are
you
you
guys
guys?
just roll?
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
rolled that, but that was I was having them roll that one for a different reason, which again, Vash is practically deaf, but Lucky, with his 2 advantage, he does still happen to hear some footsteps coming from the open doorway that leads out of the room. Not the one back where you came, but
Where we're headed.
where you're headed.
Lucky will get on the comm signal and say, "We got company coming from my front."
I kind of press on my comms. I'm like, could you please uninvite them? That would be great. Thank you.
Vash, the reason for your failure, were you paying more attention to the doorway of where you came from, or more attention to what Zeke is doing?
I was just examining my new hand cannon. It's like, ooh, just like checking all the buttons and stuff.
Perfect. All right, so no, you don't have to make a subterfuge check at the moment.
But at the same time, I do see if there's any access to blowing up the power station. So do you want me to roll computers?
For that one, yes, I'm going to have you roll a average computers check, because you've spent some time here in the computer and you're knowing what system they're operating on, basically.
Is it okay if I borrow one of these advantage fellas?
Go
Use
ahead.
the boost.
Ouch. All right. So looking into their logs and stuff, you can see that they have placed most of their troops, most of their personnel in 2 locations. One is on this floor, back the direction you came. One is what looks to be like 4 levels lower, and about 100 yards off base.
Okay, so blowing the power station wouldn't have anything to do with them. It wouldn't hurt them at all.
The power station would probably it would blow this facility, and it would take out anybody who is in the facility still. Which like I said, you've got one group of personnel that's all been posted up in one area that's back the direction you came from on the same level you're on, so they're in the facility, and another group that is a part of the facility, but they're underground.
With this kind of a roll, do I get an idea of what it would take to maybe overheat the power? Maybe overcharge the shields and burn the shields on the facility until the power shorts? Or is there a way to overload the core remotely, or are we going to have to go plant a bomb?
There is a way that you could set the core or the power of the generators to overload, but not from where you're at. You'd have to do that from either the communications room or from one of the offices, one of the officers' offices. There's 2.
All right. What's the closest in proximity to us from the looks of it versus the location where all those troops are?
Well, one of the officers' offices and the communications room, they're actually side by side. If you had, instead of making the right when you first came in the facility, if you had gone straight, you would have gone right into a bulkhead door that would take you into the communications room.
Right,
And
so
between there and here, you can also get to the offices.
I kind of look over at the team and I'm like, all right, guys, we've got two options. Here's what we do. We can go plant the bomb, which is more dangerous. It's going to be riskier, and quite honestly, probably not as effective. I imagine there's some sort of firewalls in there to keep the bomb from blowing up the entire thing. Or we can go back the way we came, very close to the entrance, take that northerly passage instead of the easterly one that we took, up at that four-way that we were originally at, head to the communications room, shut down the core from there, and then we don't have that much to run away from. We're right there at the entrance. There's a catch, though.
What's that?
There is a contingent of their forces on this floor, and it's headed in that direction.
It's maybe 30. It's around a corner and probably about 30 feet down another hallway from the communications room is where their contingent is, and you saw that it had approximately 12 people.
So they are definitely protecting the core. There's 6 people there.
Okay.
But they are heavily armed.
So am I.
I'm beginning to notice that their military tactics looks like they split in groups of 3.
No, I've still got 6 grenades to fire from this launcher.
It sounds like we still got a couple coming from my front, so what do we want to do about them?
Let them chase us.
And as that is said, I would like you guys to roll me cool again.
Oops. Hang on. Take away that success. It's just 4 advantage.
Okay.
Dang, 3 success. That is crazy.
Alright, so we again have, let's see here, PC, NPC, then we've got alright, PC, NPC.
I think we should let Lucky go first, because he now has the blast cannon of death, and he's probably very accurate with it.
Yep.
Mine's bigger.
Yes,
That's true, but we need the first guy to die from the sniper. The other 3 guys following him, that's who you smoke.
So yeah, just as you guys are finishing up your conversation about what you're going to do, these 3 guys come charging into the room, and as they do, they kind of fan out.
All right. I will. Lucky will take the one to his left first.
Okay, so one to the left. It's going to be short range. But I'm going to... bump your difficulty from being the average of 1 purple for being normal short range to an average check, due to the fact that you guys, I mean, you were on your toes and ready for it, but at the same time you weren't quite ready for them to all of a sudden pop up on top of you like they did.
Okay.
Yeah, I imagine since we're at a console, we're probably not in a very strategic place.
Yeah.
It's like an ATM, it's just in the wall, right?
Yeah. Okay. So you miss. You fire, and your blaster, the bolt of it sails right past this guy's head and scorches the wall, and even burns a few hairs as it goes by. But what kind of advantage do you pull out of that?
I will pass the bonus each to James and or to Zeke and Bash on their next roll, and let's see. As an advantage, Lucky will be able to try to get to the closest cover he can.
Okay. So you would back into the firing range and kind of use the wall for cover?
Okay. Yep. Sounds good.
Zeke looks
Okay.
at Bash and he's like, sorry, but I should let you go first.
And the one that you fired at, he takes a knee-jerk reaction and fires back at you. And let's see here. That's first time they get to shoot.
Oh, they had guns. Oh.
Yeah, these guys are kind of like the two that Vash took out that were in the hallway. They're in full combat gear, carrying heavy blaster rifles. And let's see, that's 2. And I'm going to give him the... Alright, so he hits, but when he comes running in, he's aiming at Zeke because he's the one on the computer at the time, and he comes in and fires and nails Zeke right in the right shoulder for 9 points of damage.
Oh, God.
Which, with your soak, really isn't much of nothing.
True. Well, I only have 12 wounds, though. My soak is 4. All right. Zeke immediately winces at the impact and is like, "Ah!" as he's spun back towards the computer and he's just holding his shoulder.
Alright, and then it's Zeke or Vash, both can go.
Can I do something for you, Vash? Might give you advantage.
Mhm.
Is there a way that I can shut off the lights in this entire room? Just pitch black, even the emergencies. Just
Well, you could try shooting a fixture. That would probably fry out the
so I can't see
fry
anything
them
on the
out.
computer.
But to work on the computer, yeah, you give me a average computers check with a setback due to having been shot and the chaos that's going on around you.
All right. I also get a boost die from the one that Lucky passed on.
Okay.
So. Oh!
All right. So yeah, you figure out a way to kill the lights, and you kill all the lights in the room. There's no windows in this portion of the facility, so it is pitch black, and these guys and you are completely blind for a moment until you guys get your night vision switched over.
Yeah, I think the advantage in that situation was that I got way over cocky and turned my night vision on before and then shut the lights off so that I didn't lose vision.
Okay.
I probably don't. I'm going to suffer a strain and shoot at one of them.
Okay.
Burn through another maneuver. All right. Ranged heavy.
It's gonna be the 2 purple and
Okay.
1 black. The 1 black due to having been operating the computer and switching over to shooting.
Yeah, fair enough. So 10 damage, and it's a critical.
Yeah. Tell me how you kill the one.
I think what ended up happening was I went to shoot in front of him so that it would hit him, but it blew out his leg instead. It was a little low. So he just kind of spins on his remaining leg and falls over. And you see him whimper a little bit, but his insides are kind of spilling out his hip wound. And he's just sitting there, a smoldering carcass.
Nice. All right, Vash.
Okay, so we got my night vision kicks in, and what can I see? 2 guys, they fanning out.
2 guys have fanned out. They're both along the back wall, and they seem to be kind of floundering in the darkness. They're keeping their rifles aimed in the direction of where they thought you were, and then all of a sudden Zeke fires, and you can see both of them turn with that flash for just a split second, and both of them are aiming at where Zeke is standing now.
Okay.
And don't forget you have a boost die.
Yeah, and
I've
you've
already
got
added it to my pool. I've already added it.
Yeah.
Right, in that case, I'd like to smoke the furthest one away. Just for the range factor.
You've got your night vision on. 2 purple, just like everybody else, because I mean you weren't exactly ready for them to come bursting in the room when they did.
Roger that.
Jeez.
Oh my god!
All
What
right.
the heck?
So,
You've been like... Sorry, that's 19 damage now.
yeah. So yeah, you smoked the one of them.
Wait, was that with your nade launcher?
No, that's with the new one.
The new one, yeah, that's
the
right.
XK40.
All right. So yeah, you smoked the guy. I mean, it leaves a mass. It's kind of like hitting somebody with a hollow point, even though it's a laser. I mean, little hole in the front, but if you could see his back, there's a hole like this.
In your mind, what does that weapon look like when it fires? Because ours are just the typical red lasers.
It's kind of like there's a little charge to it first, so it's a shoot. So it kind of like builds up, and it's like similar to the standard red laser, but just and
so it's like the bowcaster.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There you go.
There's just shoes left behind.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll just like basically charge up the weapon. Just leave, as you said, like a hole the size of Endor in his back. Watch him collapse. Glance at my weapon and go, I like it. And over the comms, like, that's how you do it, boys. Another one for the good guys. Yeah, that'll be my action. In fact, no. Can I take a strain and be a hero and then kind of like just try and shoot the other dude as well, since I'm on a roll? Second action.
No, you. Well, yeah, I guess I let James have 2 actions in his turn, so I can't say no to you really for this round. So
I'll take a strain.
So yeah, you can take a strain and have another shot.
See, I thought I was just lucky, but now you're being generous, sir. I'm scared.
So I kind of like, yeah, the first shot kind of like jolted me back a bit from the power of this thing, and I kind of in that movement just kind of I found myself kind of aiming roughly where the other guy is, so I'll just squeeze off another shot. So do you want to? Shall I boost the difficulty for that, or a setback or something?
Yeah, put it instead of it'd be 1 purple, 1 red for this shot, and still the 1.
No despair.
Okay, yeah. So again, it's just kind of like I'm just aiming roughly in that direction. I'm kind of like just squeezing off another round. It's not aimed. It's just whatevs. Oh, but he does it.
All right, yeah, and that's 12 base damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I don't think I get my
sort of,
barrage. He's not close enough. He's not
sort of
far away
the
enough.
sort of the same thing happens, except instead of hitting him in the chest this time, like you fire at the one, and you're just impressed with the gun, and you find yourself happening to be aiming at the other one after the recoil, and you just pluck the trigger again, and this time when your beam connects with him, I mean, it just completely pops his head just pops. All you see is like the fried sort of stump of a neck as the body drops to the ground.
I was like,
okay, I'll just give a shout.
Jesus,
Get
Vash,
some!
that's 6.
That's right. The beers are on you.
And Lucky finally gets, after Vash took out those two, he finally gets his night vision on, and he looks and he's like, "Man, I'm never gonna win this contest."
Zeke kind of replies, "You know why, right?"
And Lucky would be like, "No, why?"
Because you don't cheat like Vash.
Cheat? I don't cheat. I just choose the right tools for the job.
Zeke just kind of nods, and there should be one other guy, right? There was
No,
one at the door. There were only 3?
there's just the 3.
Okay, so since these guys are security and they aren't vaporized, maybe we should go search their body. Maybe we find some security cards or something else valuable. I don't even go to the one Zeke shot or Vash shot. They look like they got messed up.
Yeah, both of them got massive. Well, the one's got a massive hole in his back that comes through from the chest. The other one has no head left.
Mine's missing like a leg, so I'm just searching through his shirt pockets.
But yeah, you find more badges like the last one, but you'd also find a couple of stun grenades, and each of them is carrying a heavy blaster rifle.
I go ahead and yeah.
I love the darkness. Is there any way you can disable the lights for the entire facility?
No, unfortunately, not from this station. It was a miracle I was able to shut off the emergency lighting anyway. But we could effectively do the same thing in each section that we go to.
It seems our night vision gives us a huge advantage in this situation.
That is correct, but the reason why we don't want to rely on it is because one good EMP and we're done for. These helmets are nearly impossible to see through in the dark.
Copy that.
So with that in mind, he kind of looks at where the computer terminal is located, sees if there's any signs like, terminal, or see if there's a number above it, if they number the terminals. Because if I can get a good idea of where one of these should be located, when we go into a room, I can just head straight for a similar location, like against the wall, instead of just, is there a terminal here? Where is it? And looking in offices and stuff.
Well, where are you wanting to head? Are you wanting to head for the communications room?
We're going
or
back to
an
communications.
Office?
We're going back to communications.
All right. Well, when you looked at the schematic for the base, the communications room, think of like what you see when you watched New Hope or anything. I mean, there's the terminal kiosks that are set up randomly, like throughout the different communications areas, like through the prison cells and all that. It's basically the same thing. There's multiple desks type of things with terminals and all that around them in the communications room.
Excellent.
It's a room full of terminals.
Is my data pad still hooked up to the security system?
I don't know. Did you leave it hanging there whenever you turned to shoot at that guy, or did you pull it out?
I probably would have left it hanging there because that was a second action, so it was almost like a reflex. So I go back to see if it hadn't hit the floor.
No, it hadn't hit the floor, but like it plugged in with two wires, and one of them has unplugged. And like when you grab it to go to replug, you notice that the plug-in is and the wire are loose from one another.
Oh, shit.
Like it's almost torn completely off from when you dropped it.
So I pull out the wire and I was like, well, that was my last hurrah. Don't count on the lights going off unless we find a manual panel. Then we'll have to blow it out. In fact, now that my datapad doesn't really have a way to connect to any devices, I set it on the ground and I shoot it. And then I look at the guys, I'm like, if you find a datapad on any of these assholes, you let me know because I need back into their systems. And then they're not going to track me on this piece of shit.
All right. But you've got the way back to the communications room pretty well easily memorized. It's just back the way you came and make a right where you guys originally made the right.
Yeah, so yeah. I just kind of lead the way. As we're going through, we're going to do two with one cover. So I think one guy is going to lead, he's going to check, he's going to motion for the other two, then the other two go forward, and then that leader comes back and crosses them to lead again. So that's how we're taking we're leapfrogging with the leader is just by himself, and then there's two support.
Okay, well, Vash will be facing behind us, providing cover from the rear. But as we pass the two that I smoked earlier, check them for data pads.
Yeah, I kind of go over and see if there's any data pads on the wreckage of their bodies.
Yeah, it was the two that came down the corridor originally.
They're like reading their iPads as they get shot. Oh, I don't have Apple Care, no.
All right, just for shits and giggles here, I'm going to say that one of them does have a data pad on them, but I want... I don't care which one of you is that did it or does it, but I want one of you to roll a percentile. If it's above 50, when Vash shot the first one in the chest, he shoots him through the data pad that it's ruined. If it's below 50, it's still good.
That's got to be Vash that rolls that since it was his shot.
Yeah.
Oh, 3! So maybe just a little chunk of it was blown off, like just a little.
Oh no, it's got a hole right through the center of it.
Oh god.
I mean, it looks like you see in the old the old movies where so and so's got a deck of cards or something, or like a canteen or something in their vest pocket, and they pull it out and it's just got the dent in it. Well, it doesn't have a dent in it; it's just got a hole clean through it.
He kind of like watches you pick it up and shakes his head. Always gotta ruin everything, don't you?
Sorry, when you pack the kind of firepower I do, it does tend to annihilate things.
Alright, well, they don't generally keep data pads on their heads, so aim for that. I kind of like tap on my helmet and continue walking.
Roger.
So... as we come up to the main entryway, and I'm trying to imagine this, my character's trying to imagine this as they're going through, of where the communications room is and where it branches off to the extra troops. In the hallway before that area, he wants to plant some frag mine or frag grenade traps, so that if we have to retreat, we can shoot them and blow them up as troops are running by.
All right, so you would know from memory, like as you would come up to the communications room, the hallway goes left, right, and straight behind you. Well, to your left, it goes about 10 feet and then turns right. And as it turns to the right, down that direction is where all the other troops are at.
Okay, so I just basically want to grenade the door that faces towards the troops so that if they start coming out, we've got something to provide us with either time to run away or some firepower. So I'll probably use 3 grenades, 1 on the roof, 2 on the walls.
All right, so yeah, you plant your grenade trap on the hallway leading towards them. So, because like they have to come through that hallway to get to the door to the communications room.
Would that be a skullduggery to hide them out of sight, or would that be a stealth?
I'm gonna say it's skullduggery because you're trying to plant an item rather than yourself.
Right. Just because we don't know if they have a light on. If they open a door and this light's like, oh, and they just see the grenades sitting there, I just kind of want to hide them a little bit.
Okay. Hard difficulty. Okay. Yeah, you get them hidden and they practically blend into the walls. Like you find a gap in the panels or whatnot that you're able to get kind of pulled back and get them set in there and run your tripwire and all that through it, or however it is that you're going to activate them.
I get the tripwire based at the bottom and I point to the guys, eyes down, and then a tripwire logo, and I'm pointing right down at it.
And Lucky would acknowledge that he knows where the tripwire's at.
So I guess since the room kind of branches off in another direction, we could theoretically approach the communications room without having to go through them, right?
Oh yeah, like your doors. Like if you're standing here facing the doors to the communications room, you would have planted the grenades just off to your left a little bit.
That's what I thought. All right, I think that I should breach the door while the 2 of them take position. They both have similar weapons.
Okay. Well, the doorway has just like the other doorway that took you into the training area. It's got the little badge pad next to it.
Yeah. So I run over the badge pad and I've got the multiple IDs. And I take one of the security officer's IDs, so I'm not constantly using the same one in case they lock me out. And I go up to the door and I nod to the 2. And I'm wondering if maybe if they get ready, if they could get an aim proficiency, like if they get on bended knee, if they could get that aim boost dice.
Oh yeah, they can definitely if they take the stance of aiming at it and all that. Yeah, I'd give it to them.
Are there tables around or furniture at all, or is this a pretty open area?
This is just an open hallway that you're in at the moment.
All right, so I look at them waiting for their cue to go ahead and swipe the card, hoping that they'll get in position and start aiming carefully.
Yep, Lucky gets into position.
Yeah, I can't exactly wield this thing by kneeling down, so I'll just kind of like plant my feet wide apart, aim it down the corridor, and just, But it's not the kind of weapon where you can kind of like get it up close and kneel down. It's kind of a bazooka type thing. So
yeah, it's a massive, almost like a shoot from the hip type of cannon.
Mm-hmm. But I'm in position. I've braced myself. I'm aiming, so I'm good to go.
All right. He kind of looks over at them and smiles under his helmet, Riley, and goes, "Housekeeping," and then pulls the card down.
All right, you swipe the first card and you hear a beep, and the door doesn't open and it's got a little red light that flashes.
I look back at them and I look back at the door.
Well, you'd probably look down at the card too, and when you look down at the card, you realize you've got an ensign's card.
Oh shit! So I'm looking through and seeing if there's maybe I'm looking at the other cards and seeing which ones I have.
Yeah, you do have a colonel's card also.
Wow, that's not suspicious. I used the colonel's card.
All right, and that one, you hear the beep beep and a little green light flashes. You don't get the ain't, and the doors part open, and inside the room, you see like one whole wall is just a massive screen, and there's like 6 other stations all set up facing this massive screen, and you can see 2 people that didn't show up on your scan initially when you were looking at the map, but both these people, a male and a female, both human, they're both wearing like white lab coat type scientist-like coats, and they're huddled up behind one of the far computer stations.
I go, shit. As I'm peeking in, I'm like,
There's your hostage, Zeke.
I kind of look at them and I'm like, all right. So I move forward. Of course, checking my 6, but I know they have my back, so I'm looking more for putting my rifle onto my back and looking as non-threatening as possible. Since they're unarmed, I'm not going to just shoot him in the back of the head. So I go to approach him.
And as you approach the female of the group, she actually seems to be the braver of the 2. She just, I mean, even though she's huddled down and obviously scared, but the guy, as you approach, the guy sort of starts to backpedal, and like he falls back on his ass, and he's just doing a whole backward crab walk sort of thing, like he's scooting away from you until he scoots all the way up against the screened paneled wall and can't go back any further.
All right, I look at the female scientist, and I hold my hand out, and I'm like, ma'am, kind of to shake.
And she recoils away from you as you begin to reach out, and she says, I'm just a tech. I don't know anything. What do you want?"
Just a friendly handshake. I don't mean you any harm. I can tell you're unarmed.
And,
I have a few questions.
She says, "I'll tell you anything you need to know. Just leave me alone."
Well, then come over here. And I motion towards a chair.
And she hesitantly stands and takes slow steps over to the seat. And
Since she crosses in front of me and since she wouldn't give her hand, I grab her hand anyway and then spin her around with it facing behind her back just so that I could pat her down and make sure that she doesn't have any weapons. And then I'm going to... I kind of look over at the guys. Are they fixated on me as far as their gazes go, or are they looking around the room?
Looking around.
All right, so since they're covering the rest of the room, I kind of open comms, which means I shut off the normal communications and I go through the mouth speaker. And I'm just like, just cooperate and we'll all get out of here alive, okay? You have nothing to worry about. Just cooperate. Do you understand? And now my searching is kind of half-hearted as I'm talking to her.
Okay. Make me a perceptions check as you're for searching her.
I'm hoping she's not armed. I really don't want to have to kill a scientist. I could use her. Just 2 difficulties since she's not fighting, or?
1 difficulty because she's not struggling. She's pretty scared.
Okay.
Okay. You do find it's like a holdout blaster, but it's not a blaster. It's just simply a stun pistol.
I feel it, leave it in there, and tap it twice. Can I roll a charm in trying to...
You may, but first I would like you to roll a skullduggery to see if you're able to hide the factor from your friends that you're leaving this woman armed.
Okay. Would the difficulty be one of their perception checks, or?
Yeah, which one of you two... Well, Chris looks like... which one of you two has the better perception?
My perception's rank 1 with 2 green. So it'd be 1 yellow, 2 green.
Mine's just 2 green.
Okay,
Alright,
so
so-
1 red, 2 purple.
Yep.
Ooh, threats. Okay.
All right. You're able to get away with it, but at the same time, Lucky he kind of notices a little bit of stiffness, a little bit of just something that's not quite normal. Enough to give him a little suspicion, but not enough to let him know for sure of what's happened.
Like maybe he noticed that I'm just doing it half-heartedly.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, now you can make your charm check to see if you're able to charm her, which is going to be a hard.
Okay. I'm just kind of like standing her up now, relieving the pressure on her arm. Okay. She
All
still
right.
doesn't trust me.
Yeah, she still doesn't quite trust you, but at the same time, she's realizing what's just happened, and she's a little more compliant. Like, it doesn't take you 3 times of asking or telling her to do something. She doesn't.
I was like, how would you ask your friend there to join you or else he'll get killed?
And she looks over and she says, "Come on, Ray, get over here." And he kind of gets up onto like hands and knees and slowly stands up and keeping a wide berth from you, walks around the computer panel terminal to the other side to be next to her.
What's his build like?
He's probably about 5'5", maybe 5'6", and probably right around 225. So I mean, he's a pretty chubby guy.
So I kind of radio over to Lucky, and I'm like, "See Porkins over there?"
Yeah.
All right. Well, she seemed to know him endearly when she called out to his name, Ray. She obviously cares about his safety. So if she's not giving us what we want, he's good leverage. Besides, he's going to have to be put down before we leave anyway. He'll talk.
Understood. And Lucky will kind of keep his aim towards the gentleman.
Vash, I've already done my job as good cop. Why don't you come in and deal with her? And then I'm going to see if there's a way that I could shut the doors behind us. I imagine since it's such an important room that there would be some sort of lock.
Yeah, there's a lock override that would lock the doors shut, yeah.
I want to lock it to where the security rank required to get in the room is the card we just used to get in, so that nothing below can get in this room with the card.
Okay.
But I don't know if that would take any passwords or anything like that.
Well, I was just going to say, to be able to do that, it's going to be a daunting computers check. So that's going to be a 4 purple.
All right, you know what? I don't think we've got anything to lose. Do we want to use another one of our light side? Okay, so yeah,
You're getting all thumbs up.
let's do it.
All right. The door does lock and shut, but it seems that you've messed up in locking it, and you've set the override to where you guys are locked in. There's no way of reopening the door.
Oh, there's a way. It's called Vash. He's
Well,
got the grenade launcher that he can.
There's no way of peacefully, quietly opening the door.
All right, well, we're not going to be interrupted, so we could work here. Lady, I'm going to kind of nod to her.
Sure.
I'm like, this is my friend Vash. He's going to ask the questions. Is that okay with you?
It's just, I'll tell you whatever you want to know.
I kind of look to Vash.
I have no options. She says, I either tell you or you kill me, and you're probably going to kill me anyway, so just make it easier and less painful? What do you want to know?
Vash will just fold his arms. He didn't even need to do anything. It's just like, smart woman.
All right.
I would like for you to make a perceptions check, Vash.
You must have noticed by now I'm not the most perceptive of people.
Well, everybody else has kind of stepped back away to let you deal with these two, and you're the one standing there, so it's you that has to do it.
Against the standard?
Yeah, two purple.
It's a wash.
Nil's out. All right, so you just completely impressed with yourself at not having to do anything to get this woman to do what she wants, what you want. You completely miss the factor that the gentleman has reached underneath of the console, underneath the corner edge of the computer console. And he whips out a blaster pistol.
Oh,
and
lucky.
He's gonna, because you completely miss it, he's gonna fire. And that's gonna be, let's see, 2 purple.
Would Lucky be able to roll like a cool or a vigilance since he was keeping an eye on the guy? Or maybe even a perception check on his own?
Yeah.
Okay. So that would be...
do a perceptions, average difficulty, and if you notice it, you can intervene. Okay, no success, but you can take an advantage out of. Tell me what you get an advantage. Use your advantage for.
For my advantage, mechanically, I'll pass a boost dice to myself and Vash. Narratively, Lucky will be prepared for any sudden movements, but he didn't notice the kind of nonchalant movement. So when he pointed, he's kind of like sitting there at the ready, going, "Okay, don't do it," you know.
All right. So you miss the nonchalant reach over. It's kind of like he's reaching over to lean on the console type of thing. And when he does, he suddenly jerks the pistol up, and being just a fraction too slow, you're not able to fire before he does. And he fires. That's 6 points of damage to Vash. And when he fires, the pistol he's using, you can tell it's in poor condition. Like it doesn't. It looks all dinged up and whatnot. It doesn't look like a very good pistol. And when he fires, it sparks and smokes, and it's fried. So it's like he got the one shot off, and that was it.
And
but that's probably not going to save his life.
Nope.
I think I actually hold my hand up for a moment, and I walk up to Vash, and I said, "The girl openly will say whatever she wants, right? Or whatever we want to hear, right?"
Yeah, I'm just kind of like looking down at like where did that shot hit me?
I'd say it probably like grazed an arm or something, because like he whips it up, pulls the trigger as the pistol's coming over. So yeah, he just like grazes an arm. And
okay, well my soak's 5, so I took 1 point of damage, so it's literally a scratch. So I'm gonna kind of like look down at where it hit me, look back at him, and just like start slowly walking towards him.
Zeke kind of holds his hand out real quick and just goes, "Shoot the girl first." She'll tell us whatever we want to hear. She won't be truthful. She'll just spill the beans and say whatever we want to hear. But it seems like this guy's got something to hide.
And
Well,
hearing
why do we have to shoot her? I want to make it slow.
hearing that, hearing Zeke say that, Lucky moves his aim from the gentleman to the lady's shoulder that's facing and takes a shot at it. He just reacts.
Just to like shoot her in the shoulder?
Yeah, not to kill her, just to just one shot
All right.
and see.
Yeah, you don't even have to roll for it. And you guys are all close proximity and all this thing. You just quick twist of aim, and you blast her right in the shoulder, and she like screams and grabs her shoulder and like falls out of the chair, and it just gets all melodramatic. Like she's acting like this wound, the shoulder wound, is gonna kill her.
Okay, well, Vash will walk towards her, like, kind of pick her up by her, like the front there, look at the guy, and then, like, dig my thumb into that blaster wound, start really kind of, moving it around, like, making a squeal, basically.
Oh, yeah,
and then I'll...
screaming and crying.
Okay, Zeke, ask you questions.
I walk up to the guy and I'm like, can you log us into the system and remove, just use your employee ID? We have some things to work on.
Let's see, he says, no, I don't have the clearance.
She doesn't either, does she?
Screams louder.
Do what, James?
I kind of looked over at Vash and then back at the guy, and I'm like, I need you to log into the systems. You say you don't have the clearance. She probably doesn't either, does she?
So just to clarify, every time he gives an answer that we're not happy with, she screams more as my thumb goes in a little bit further.
He says, yeah, she's got the clearance. I don't.
Well, lady, you can still type with one hand, correct?
And she's too busy screaming and crying and just going hysterical to actually give you an answer.
Okay, I'll remove my thumb and, like, kind of ease the pain. And I'll say, I'll ask you one more time. You can still log in with one good arm, yes?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay. Well, just so you know, my man will be watching you. If he senses that you're doing anything but what he asks, you will feel pain like you've never felt before. And I promise you it won't be quick.
Okay, so yeah, you kind of shove her towards the terminal, and she, with her one good arm, she begins to click away at a keypad, and the terminal comes up, and the screen up on the wall activates, and you are into the system.
It's your show now, Zeke.
I just want to see if I can access the power core and see about overheating it.
Well, you figured out when you were in the training room that it can be done, and that it had to be done from here or one of the offices.
Right.
So I'm going to say that that's going to be an average difficulty. Computers check.
Okay. There we go. Oh, barely.
Barely. All right. So yeah, you get it set to start priming for overload, but you set it to do it subtly, so it's not like it's going to all of a sudden just wind up and blow. It's going to build and build until it just can't hold anymore, and then it'll blow.
Right. And that's actually kind of what he wanted to anyway, because he imagines this is going to put a whole bunch of evacuation alerts throughout the space station, and he kind of wants to slow down the countdown time so he and his guys can monitor it and then get out in a reasonable enough time.
Yeah, you estimate that you've probably got a half an hour before it blows, with the cycle time you've given on it.
Right.
Is there any way to ensure that it's not reversible, that it can't be cancelled once initiated?
Not really. Not the nature of it. I mean, a good mechanic could probably show up on site and undo what I'm doing.
We just don't want to set it, leave, and then have it not explode, is my thinking.
Well, that's why I think that it would benefit us to stay up here for a bit, because we can keep an eye on the situation. From what I gathered, the troops are right next to us and several meters away underground. So the chances of the second team getting there in time is...
We need to figure out a way out this room as well.
That's what I'm more concerned about. We're going to have to blow our way out. So we could take the time, watch the countdown, make sure we put an intricate enough explosive on the front door, and then blow our way out.
Roger that.
I kind of look at the gentleman and I thank him for his services, and I asked him if he'd be willing to do one more thing for me.
And he just kind of gives you the stink eye. He doesn't give you an answer, and he just gives you a dirty look.
All right. I pull the pin to the stun grenade, but I try to do it with skullduggery so I can like sleight of hand it, and then I just hand him the stun grenade. I'm like, just in case you need this if this trap or if this breacher goes wrong. And I kind of hand it to him.
Okay, so you hand it to him like so he can hold the clip on it so that he can release it on his own whenever he decides to, or you hand it to him.
No, I removed the clip and I just kind of like slide it to him. I'm just basically trying to get it in his hands.
All right, so he hesitantly, you can tell he really doesn't want to take this from you. I mean, he hasn't noticed what you've done, but he just doesn't want to take anything from you. But he does take it, and he just immediately like shoves it in his lab coat pocket.
And then I walk towards Vash, holding the ring up so that he could see the ring in front of my face. But the guy who put the grenade in his lab coat doesn't see that I've pulled the pin as I'm walking back.
Yeah, so as you turn to walk back, maybe 2 seconds goes by, and all of a sudden there's a little sort of pop and ring sort of sound, and he kind of jerks and goes rigid as sort of these blue bolts of energy course through him, and he falls to the ground, stunned and unconscious.
All right, so I just continue walking forward. I'm like, all right, Bash, I think the door's going to be up to you. I think the explosives are going to be up to you. I can plant them, but you're going to have to disarm them.
Okay, well, I'll like reach into my bag, well, my pack, and take out a heavy frag grenade. Hand it to Zeke and say, "Can you do something with this?" It's pretty badass.
He kind of looks at it and wonders if with the tripwire, if he could hang it towards at the center of the door and at least give some kind of directional force for this explosion.
Just be warned, this is a heavy frag grenade. This isn't going to be a small explosion. This is going to be big. So we're going to have to find suitable cover.
Right.
And
Cool.
is the one girl still kind of conscious?
Yeah, she's in quite a bit of pain from having thumb dug around in the hole in her shoulder, but she's still standing at the terminal. She's screaming and crying and hysterical again, having watched the stun grenade go off in her partner's pocket.
Hearing all this, Lucky's just it's clouding his mind up, and he doesn't want to hear it anymore. So he walks up to her and just basically punches her to knock her out.
Okay. Yeah, you give her a good old right hook, and her neck and jaw and all that sort of twist off to the side, and you hear the whole little snap. One of those things of, oh damn, I think I hit her too hard, and she just crumbles to the ground.
Thank God someone shut that bitch up.
At seeing that and kind of shocked in the fact that he wasn't trying to take her out, he was just trying to shut her up, but she ended up not making it. He goes, well, I guess that's 2 now for me. Do I get a bonus for that one?
You gonna count that, Lucky? Seriously? Whatever it takes to boost your stats, brother.
It kills the kill.
I look at him, or I look at Lucky, I'm like, you're right. And then I turn around and shoot the guy in the head with the heavy carbine. I'm like, one more for me.
Alright, so
you boys will do anything to catch me up.
Both scientists are dead. The only thing in this room that could be really used as cover are the different terminal stands. And the farthest one from the door is about 25 feet away from the door, with 2 other terminal stands in between it and the doorway.
Okay, I'm going to go and try and hunker down as far away as possible behind one of those stands.
Yep.
Lucky, I suggest you take cover, brother.
Yeah, Lucky will take heed of that and start to make cover, or take cover.
Alright, so Zeke's just kind of working on making the explosives. I'd like to roll mechanics and try to determine the thickness of the door, if it's a blast door or something, and just get an idea of how much. I don't want to go way overboard and endanger us.
You can. You don't even have to roll for it. You can tell that these are blast doors.
Okay, well then everything's going on there. Yeah, I'm gonna daisy chain them so that when one goes off, the others go off, and it just pop, 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 pop. Probably in a kind of a circle around to where it starts at the top and the meets at the bottom. And I take out the last 6 grenades I have, plus that heavy fragmentation grenade, and I put that at the bottom of the door. And I line them up, 2 at the top, 2 on the sides, 2 in the corners, and then the heavy one down in the bottom. I was like, this is all the beans.
I've got one more frag grenade if you think you need a bit more.
No, we should probably keep that one for the future. And I take cover behind a console, and I grab the dude's body and I hold it in front of me like a shield, like I've got my arm up the back of his shirt, and his head's just kind of flopping around at my fist. And I'm like, go, Vash.
Alright, so I'm going to give it to you. You're able to get all this stuff hooked up and wired up on the door to do this. And I want all 3 of you to make me resilience checks, because you've just wired a shit ton of explosives to the inside of a closed room, to a closed-off room's blast doors. And you do have some cover, but not a whole lot. And
Against how much?
So I'm going to go ahead and flip that, and we're going to make that 2 purple and a red for difficulty for your resilience.
Oh my.
And I get 2 boost dice for 2 ranks in physical training, just so you know.
Okay.
Oh my god!
Oh.
Oh my god, a despair and a failure.
Zeke's told his last one-liner.
I'm like, guys, are you ready?
So just as Zek is getting ready to drop down into cover, he flips the switch on the detonator just a hair too soon, and he has not any cover for this. And when this thing goes off, there's just this massive explosion, and that's 10 points of damage that ignores soak because you have no cover.
Okay, I'm zeroed.
Okay, you are unconscious. The explosion goes off, shrapnel shreds the back of your armor, and the explosion flings you forward into the screens that are covering the back wall, and you slump to the ground, just completely limp and unconscious. Barely breathing. Lucky is not so lucky. He is behind cover, but he wasn't. He's closer to the inside of the aisle rather than the outside. So when the explosion goes off, it shreds the two consoles that are between his console and the door, but it also shreds the portion of the console that he's hiding behind. And you take 10 points of damage, but it does not ignore your soak.
Okay.
And Vash, you don't take any damage, but you being the heavy, you're kind of one of these things of, oh, I've got to see this explosion sort of thing, and just barely peeking over the top of your console. And when the explosion goes off, it's so damn bright you wind up blinded for a few minutes. But it did successfully blow a hole in the blast doors, and the explosion also sets off the grenades in the hallway. So there's another explosion.
It's a big bomb. I imagine my body flying back like an episode of Star Trek where I'm just flying over the consoles.
But yeah, you're running down the center, just getting ready to slide down in behind one of the consoles when you flip the switch. So yeah, it just boom, your body flips and does a little flip, smashes into the consoles on the wall while you're up in the air, and then drops to the ground limp like a rag doll.
It's fine.
And as Lucky was preparing for the blast, and he feels the shrapnel hitting the side where part of it blew up, and as he's knocked over, he sees the feet of Zeke flying across his vision, and then he pans over to see Zeke hit the wall and down.
But so yeah, and you guys have successfully set the generator to blow, as long as nobody recognizes it and intervenes manually. All the computers in the room are thrashed. One person is near death, unconscious, barely breathing. Another one has had his side sort of shredded as he's flung forward a bit. And Vash is temporarily blinded from the flash of this explosion because he just had to get a peek.
He's not the sharpest.
That's kind of why I thought that's what would happen. You said it yourself.
after everything kind of settles for a minute, Lucky will go, Vash, are you alright?
Yeah, on my comms, I'll be like, I can't see. Lucky, Zeke, talk to me. I'm blind.
Zeke's down. Zeke's down.
Is he dead?
Lucky would make his way up, kind of staggered a little bit from his injuries, and make his way to check to see if Zeke's dead.
Well, you wouldn't necessarily have to. Inside your HUD of your helmet, you've got like a lifeline for all of your teammates.
Oh, okay. So
And his is going up and down, but it's ever so slow, and nice long flat pieces stretches in between when it goes up.
And
So
Lucky noticing that will go to say to Vash, he goes, "No, he's not dead, but he's darn close to it. We need to get the hell out of here."
If you can reach into my backpack, there's a stim pack in there.
Okay. Lucky will reach into his backpack, grab the stim pack, and try to bring Zeke back to consciousness.
All right, so yeah, you find one of the soft parts in one of the joints, and that the needle can penetrate, and stick him with a stim pack, and instead of, I mean, he's damaged so badly that instead of returning him to the 5 wound points that it should, it only brings him back to 1, and it brings him back to consciousness, but he is severely thrashed. His legs won't work. He can feel nothing from the waist down, type of thing.
I look down at my body as the stem back kind of, it's like adrenaline, just he sips up as much as he can, and he hands his gun, pulls out his energy cell and hands it to him, and starts unloading some of his gear. And he's like, "You got to get back. I'll stay here and make sure that the power station blows."
Are you sure we can make it, man? We can make it.
It's too much of a risk. They can't afford to lose 3 of us. You're going to have to carry me back.
Lucky, are you up to the challenge? Can you carry him?
If we did that, he kind of protests and he goes, "If we did that, we'd have to leave now. And as it is, somebody has to stay here to make sure that this slow countdown is not going to be interrupted. Otherwise, this will be all for nothing." Do you want to answer to Vader?
And
Got a point, but what use is a cripple gonna do?
I can stay here and manage. I can stay here and manage the computer. I don't need to move.
Look, the computers are destroyed. This room's trashed.
He starts pointing at some of the auxiliary panels on the back wall. Since you described it like a ring, kind of imagine like the one in Star Wars: A New Hope, like the detention center's comm center.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "There's other comm stations. The consoles are designed so that if one of them gets damaged or shorts out, that there's still some backup routines."
Oh no!
Lucky,
Like when
it's your call.
when the explosion went off, all of the stations in the room were thrashed. All of the terminal stations, and you were flung forward into the screens and stuff that were on the back main wall. So they're all broken and whatnot. They're all spiral.
My legs are shattered, right?
And from a guess, your legs are either shattered or you're paralyzed from the waist down because you have no feeling.
Yeah, I
from the
kind
waist down.
of look back at them. I'm like, I can't even feel my legs. I wouldn't be of any use to you. The moment that you sit me down, I just plop.
Lucky, this is
Here,
your mission.
let's compromise.
Your call.
Let's compromise. Take me to a console, then I'll see what I can do.
okay.
Oh, tell me when my eyesight's starting to come back as well, by the way.
Well, while you guys are discussing this, the ringing in all of your ears is fairly loud, but even through it, you can hear the multiple footsteps of or boot stamps of guys who are entering the room. Zek and Lucky would be able to see that there are 6 well-armed soldiers that have just stepped through the doorways of this room, all of them with heavy rifles aimed at your discretion. And this is completely out of the ordinary for Star Wars, but because it's getting so late, I want all 3 of you to make me a percentile check, and if you roll above 70%, you survive this fight and make it out of, or are able to get drug out of the area, back outside before the explosion. If not, then you happen to die here in the room, and that's where it's going to end. Okay.
Oh man.
So
the cripple guy is like,
all right. So the cripple guy, he actually survives the fight, but has no way to get out of the facility because the 2 that were still capable of walking and getting him out die during this firefight in this communications room.
Okay, I've got a way we could wrap this up to kind of answer some questions to the mystery. We'll say that the power core goes off, and of course he blacks out from all the debris and stuff with only having 1 hit point, and he wakes up to seeing ash and material from the burning battle station flying by, and he hears a noise, and he looks down, and there's a medical droid treating his legs with a few soldiers standing there. And a rebel soldier comes by and kneels down in front of him and goes, "So, what have you got to say for yourself?" And Zeke just kind of looks at him and goes, "Mission success, sir." Pulls out a little drive that he had from his helmet and handed it to him and goes, "I delayed the explosion as long as I could, and I deterred the troops from interfering with us so that they weren't close to it." And he goes, "Excellent," and then the screen probably fades black.
Yep, screen would fade black, and that's where credits would roll. Thank you, everybody, for playing. Thank you, everybody who decided to watch and who is going to decide to watch later. Please continue to tune in to the GM's Dice. There are plenty more games to come. Again, thanks for watching, and we are signing off.